capacity within the time frame they say they we will.
For the circumstances that got us to 100.1% of the capacity?
Well, our 100.1 is 200,295 gallons. That's, I don't know which day that was. It's possible that it was a rainy day.
Mm-hmm.
We do have some I&I, which doesn't usually lead to a whole lot, but we did get a lot of rain in a short period of time, so that might be what pushed it over.
Okay.
It was only one day that it was at that, so that's likely.
Mm-hmm.
But we have had a lot of days that were in the 170 to 190,000 gallons range, which brings up the average, obviously.
Yep. Thank you.
Other than that, we have so far spent just under $100,000 out of the $177,000 that we have currently for the grant for the engineering study and the wastewater or the water recharge study. The water recharge study should be to you guys in May also, so that'll be on. Not you? No May meeting for you?
No May.
Oh, I'll mail it to you. We are working on the state revolving fund grant of $250,000. They've accepted our application, and their credit department is currently reviewing our case. They've asked for more information about the bonds the district received in 1994, or the county received in 1994, which the district assumed. So once we have that information to them, then they should be able to finish up our review.
Just an overview of those things, or what are they specifically?
They're looking to make sure that we can meet our obligation.
Okay.
But we didn't have all the original documentation from those bonds. The county does. So they wanted to see that. So as soon as the county can provide that to us, we can give it to them, and they should be able to finish that.
Okay.
It doesn't sound like it's really a deal breaker at this point, because that's there's only 2 years on that bond anyway, and it's a pretty minimal payment. It's only $45,000, and it comes from property tax.
Okay.
So they just want to clarify it, or clarification of what it was, I think is what they're looking for. At this point, we have almost exactly 2 years left to meet our 2.9 year goal of March of 2021 to have enough of the treatment plant built to meet our hydraulic demand. So, other than that, if you guys have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Nobody answered mine.
Good. Thank you.
Public comment, questions, go ahead.
Kelly, is that loan paid for by our taxes? Or are you holding it, are they holding a loan for you?
You're referring to the bond I was talking
Yeah,
about?
the bond.
The bond is a bond that was assumed in 1994.
No,
That was for,
no, the new bond that we got for $177,000.
that's a grant from,
And that's not payable? You don't have to pay
it's
it.
already money. Well, this community and every community in California pretty much put in money for that, but it's not something that we're paying back. It's not a bond or a loan.
That's
It's
what I wanted to know.
It's a grant that was given by RWM.
Thank
We're
you.
waiting for reimbursement, right? Or have we received funds from them?
We have not received it, but we did finally received the agreement, and that was returned, and we should be getting that back soon. All of our invoices to date have been submitted, so as soon as the as soon as the agreement is finalized by the county, then we should be seeing that $100,000 coming back.
Okay.
Right on.
What, you were about to say something about the AB water bond of 94?
So the one they're asking about is the 1994 Series B bond, which was for water lines on the terrace.
Yeah, it was an AB is what it was.
Well, there was an A and a B. The A is gone.
Right.
B is what's left. So I don't know if you still paying that on your property tax, but
Oh, I'm sure I am.
they were looking for clarification on what that was. What it
But
was.
everybody in the district pays on
On that bond, yes.
the B bond.
Right.
And that's not done yet?
No, I'm
It's
paying
2 more
ours.
2 years. Huh?
You said 2 years.
Yeah.
2 more years?
This year and next year.
It's a bond, it's not a grant.
No, I know, it's on your tax bill.
Yeah, I see it.
It's there.
That's a long list too, by the way.
Could have opted out if you had $4,000. Okay, is there any more public?
Yeah, I got one, like, on this treatment plant and everything, now, sounds to me like we're paying somebody a lot of money to design it and everything, okay. You gotta have the aerators and everything. And whoever you're buying those aerators from and putting the ponds in and the pumps and everything, they already have all the engineering, why are we paying somebody else, you know, $100,000?
Site specific.
When the company, you know, it's just like if you buy anything from these companies, that they have all the specs and everything.
I can answer that if you like.
Okay.
So, that is correct. Every vendor of every piece of everything you could buy has a spec on how it's used, has a spec on how it can be used for, or what it can be used for. For the engineering study that was done so far, that was to determine, one, what is the most feasible thing for us to do, the most cost-effective thing for us to do, and what is gonna meet the requirements from the state. Obviously, there's a lot of other little teeny tiny pieces that fall into that, but that's the main bulk of it. And that's not something that a vendor is gonna do for us. It's something that our engineer or some other engineer has to do, running numbers, finding processes, and then going out and finding companies that make those processes
Compatible components.
to find out which one's gonna work.
Yeah, and then also not site specific based on what type of treatment we plan, for example, membrane bioreactor.
Exactly. So at this point, you know, we've done the engineering study, and we're finishing the groundwater study, so that we have that basis to say, this is what we're doing, this is where we're going. The next step from that is to take that information, along with all the different vendors that have been contacted, and say, okay, now we know we're doing membrane bioreactors. You need to tell us what it is that you think it should be from each vendor. A selection will be made, and all the engineering for that system will be provided by the vendor. But you still have to provide engineering for the site, for all the civil engineering, for all the, you know, how it's all gonna be laid out, because the people who make the headworks are gonna provide for that block. So you just plop that in there, but you have to get it from A to B to B to C to C to D, all the way to Z. So that's the engineering we're paying for. The engineering for each device is being provided by the manufacturer.
Is there any other public comment or questions? Back to the board. Is there a motion?
Just discussion item only.
Okay, I'm sorry. Then we heard public comments, so we're gonna move into 6. Review and approve resolution 2019-14, adopting an updated district reserve policy for the San Miguel Community Services District.
So with our financials, we brought in a CPA to assist with our audit, to get through our audits, and in our audit findings, there were several things that led to a lot of confusion from the 2015 policy that was done. This policy has gone back and looked at all the funds, and there's a problem.
No, we're good now.
Went back, looked at the funds and looked where confusion was at, and this is for clarification so that there's transparency and there's an understanding in the reserves, where they belong, what accounts they're in, and it clearly states what the reserve, parameters would be.
Are there any questions or comments for the interim general manager?
This
All
most,
good?
is this kind of to just help out the audits? To help out the audits?
Well, no, it's our financial accounts, and we have our reserve funds and our operational funds, and it basically establishes the ground rules on what the funds are used for, and basically what you see up here on the board. and then what's required to maintain those funds, what they can be used for, how much needs to remain in each, fund. And then when you use funds, you have accountability for them. You can't just arbitrarily use funds without documenting it, so there's some things put in here that will help establish, what it's designated for, and then if you are to use it, what you have to do, to use it. Especially if it wasn't what it was designated for. We've used funds from certain funds. We've used money from certain funds to support other funds, and in the past, it wasn't tracked, it wasn't, documented properly. And when you go back and do the audit, it made it very difficult to make the financials correct. This document was reviewed, by all the staff, and we've gone over it, and, it's trying to shore up some of the loose ends that were identified so that our audits will continue to be good and we have a good track of our financials.
It also stipulates that if funds are appropriated from one to another, that they are paid back.
I don't even think that's legal to do to begin with.
What, move stuff around?
Yeah, borrow
Elaine?
money.
My understanding
Pay a
is,
shortfall on
my
another
understanding is you can, but you better, it's not a good
practice.
optics.
You have
It
to
doesn't
pay
look good
interest to
to.
yourself.
Legal has an opinion on that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's not good optics. If you have money in the fire account, for example, you probably shouldn't be using it for admin purposes unless the admin has to do with running your fire department. So
There you have it.
it's very dicey.
Okay, is there any, other questions or comments?
I think it's a long time coming.
I agree.
Public comment?
Yeah.
I would like to thank, Mr. Dodds, who put a lot of time into the research and prep on this too.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I just wanna make sure that, you know, she has a lot of schooling that she has to get done, you know, for her job. I'm talking about tomorrow.
Oh my god.
Well, she has to take classes.
Yes.
I just wanna make sure that you guys make sure that, I didn't see anything in there so that the two fire department and the water department split the cost for her to continue to be their
Oh,
liaison.
Yeah, it would be split up according to how that training,
Where it pertains, yeah.
Oh,
I just
what-
didn't see it in the budget, and
Well, we
I
already
just
did that.
wanna make sure that it gets
Okay.
there for her.
Thank you. This is a reserve policy, like a savings account.
Well, I'm just saying.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other public comment? Okay, back to the board. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve resolution 2019-14.
I will second that.
Alright. Roll. Director Parent,
Yes.
Director Palafox,
Yes.
Director Sangster,
Yes.
President Green.
Yes.
Passes 4-0, 1 absent.
Review and approve resolution 2019-13, the district timekeeping policy for district personnel.
So this had to be updated because we've gone with a timekeeping, system through Paychex where employees are able to punch in and punch out by using their phone or in office on the computer. And our previous, policy didn't reflect the way the system worked, so it was updated, to meet the needs, where we, do our timekeeping there.
So with this change, does it still reserve the right of the district to choose how it wants to track time? That was for you, Elaine.
It's very, well, the way that this policy is, I haven't had a chance to fully review it in complete depth, I was just looking at it through the board packet, but it looks like that it's just based on the district's current timekeeping practices, or timekeeping, method.
We
It
don't,
talks about geofencing, I mean, this policy will be very easy to change if there's a different method that the district decides to track
okay,
time,
so,
if that's a trap.
so there is no current, I mean, this is brand new. The current past practice was that we had a time clock that wasn't being used.
Right, and in lieu of that, the employees, my understanding was writing their time down,
It's paper time card, yeah.
paper time, yeah.
But we had a policy that wasn't being followed. Now, my question is, does the district still reserve the right to select a method, whatever method it chooses for tracking time?
If the board passes this policy, is that your question?
Uh-huh.
It always has the opportunity to. If this will not be, I mean, the district will, if the board desires to pass this policy today, doesn't mean 6 months from now, they can come back and, you guys can come back and say, this isn't working, we want to implement a new system for timekeeping.
It's not a negotiable item then.
Management's discretion, isn't it?
Right, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, it's management discretion.
Okay,
For
thank
the
you.
most part,
Okay, thank you.
Is management getting what they need as far as accurate record keeping? You know where everybody is when they're signing in, signing out?
This is far more accurate than what anything we've used before. Even if you had a time clock on the wall where you punched in and out, with this system, we're able to go on and actually see live who's on duty, who's not on duty, who punched in, who punched out. You can technically go in and look and see where they were at. If they used their phone through GPS, but it's geofenced, so they have to be within their work assignment. But we can tell, and it does it in the 7-minute increments.
For example, Paula left, he looked up on his phone and was able to see she clocked out.
So, on a Saturday, if Kelly had to call in a worker, he has the ability to see when they clocked in, when they clocked out, when they were done with the assignment.
And if they're in San Diego, and they're trying to clock in, then we
It
know
doesn't work.
It's like it won't.
It's gonna say they're in San Diego, so
Right.
that wouldn't
Yeah.
help them to punch in anyway, but
Exactly.
it has all those abilities and it does
Yeah.
track the time, and when we go in as management and supervisors and look on the computer, any errors, it flags all the errors, and you can't approve any of the timesheets until those errors are cleared. And when you clear them, it requires you to make a note of entry stating why it was flagged. So all
Why you
that,
changed it.
Management approval.
and then it has to go through a management approval.
Okay.
And then a second management approval, me and Kelly will,
They're able to supervise and clear their people. When all those are done and when the
Comes to you.
timesheet's done, it can't be sent forward to be sent to paychecks for payment until it has a final review, and you have to go and review every one of them and confirm
Which
it.
was not happening before.
So
Right.
you can't not do it.
Yeah,
If
you
you
can't
don't,
not do
it
it.
doesn't